You can't hide from this word POV. Did not by stop patronage. Sit down.
And sold it for $23 million at 35. 3 years later, he walked through his front door at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, exhausted from back-to-back investor meetings, and froze in the hallway because his 20-year-old daughter Emma was slow dancing in the living room with someone he didn't recognize, a young man in a faded hoodie and scuffed sneakers, both of them laughing softly to music playing from her phone. And Mitchell worked 16-hour days, not because he needed to anymore, but because sitting still felt like falling backward. He'd grown up in a cramped apartment in Brooklyn, sharing a bedroom with 2 brothers, listening to his parents argue about rent every single month. Now he lived in a 5-bedroom house in Westchester, with a home gym he never used, and a wine cellar he didn't drink from. His daughter Emma was 20. She'd finished her first year at NYU but decided to take a gap year, unsure about her major, unsure about everything. She was living at home, taking a few online classes, working part-time at a bookstore. Quiet, thoughtful. She played piano. That's what he knew. They had dinner together maybe twice a week, and even then Ryan was usually answering emails between bites. His wife Jennifer had left 2 years ago. Not dramatically, just slowly. One day she said she couldn't do it anymore. The silence, the distance, the feeling of living with a stranger who happened to pay the bills. Emma stayed with Ryan. Jennifer moved to Portland. They were civil. They texted about Emma's schedule. Ryan told himself he was doing it for Emma. My money, the stability, the opportunities. But when was the last time they'd really talked? Linda Harris was 34 and had been cleaning Ryan's house for 18 months. She came Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays while Ryan was at the office, and Emma was either at work or in her room. She was efficient, invisible, professional. Ryan had hired her through an agency. He'd probably spoken to her directly maybe 5 times total. Linda had a son named Jake, 22. He'd graduated from community college with an associate's degree in graphic design, but couldn't find work in his field. He was delivering food for DoorDash and Uber Eats, saving money for a portfolio website, living with Linda in a small 2-bedroom apartment in Yonkers. Jake sometimes picked his mother up after her shifts. That's how he first saw Emma, through the kitchen window one afternoon when he arrived early, waiting in the driveway. She was sitting at the counter doing homework, headphones on, completely absorbed. 3 weeks before the moment Ryan walked in, Linda had mentioned something in passing. She'd been finishing up, gathering her cleaning supplies, when Ryan came home early, a rare occurrence. "Mr. Mitchell," she'd said carefully, "I wanted to let you know. My son Jake, he gave your daughter a ride to the music store last week." Her piano teacher recommended some sheet music, and she asked if he could drop her off. "I hope that was okay." Ryan had barely looked up from his phone. "Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Linda." He didn't ask why Emma needed a ride, didn't ask why she hadn't just texted him, didn't ask who Jake was really, or why his daughter was comfortable accepting rides from strangers. Emma had been leaving little trails for months. She'd mentioned feeling lonely. She'd asked if they could have dinner together more often. She'd asked about his childhood, about what he did for fun when he was her age. "Busy right now, Em. Later, okay?" Later never came. Jake didn't mean for it to become a regular thing. The first ride to the music store was a favor. His mom asked, he said yes. Emma sat in the passenger seat of his beat-up Honda Civic, nervous at first, making polite small talk. But Jake was easy to talk to. He asked her about school, about piano, about her gap year. He told her about trying to make it as a designer, about the logos he'd made for $3 on Fiverr just to build his portfolio. He was honest about struggling, about feeling stuck. Emma realized she'd never had a conversation like that with anyone. Honest, unglamorous, real. The second time, she texted Jake directly. She'd gotten his number from Linda. Could he drive her to a friend's house? Her dad was working late. Again. Then it was coffee runs after her bookstore shifts. Then it was sitting in his car in empty parking lots, talking for hours about nothing and everything. She told him about the pressure she felt, the unspoken expectation to be perfect, to be grateful, to never complain because she had everything. "You can have everything and still feel empty," Jake said once, quietly. She'd never forgotten that. Linda noticed. Of course she noticed. She saw the way Emma's face changed when Jake's name came up. She saw the texts lighting up her son's phone. One evening, she sat Jake down at their kitchen table. "Be careful," she said. "She's the boss's daughter. Her father is powerful. This could go very wrong. We're just friends, Mom. She's lonely. I'm not doing anything wrong. I know, but sometimes doing nothing wrong isn't enough. People like him, they don't see people like us the same way." Linda thought about saying something to Ryan, but what would she say? "Your daughter has a friend who isn't from your world? Your daughter talks to my son because she doesn't talk to you?" She stayed silent. She needed the job. Emma knew she was crossing some invisible line. She knew her father would disapprove, not because Jake was a bad person, but because he was the cleaning lady's son, because he didn't go to an Ivy League school, because he drove a 12-year-old car with a dent in the bumper. And maybe that's why she kept seeing him, not to hurt her father, but to feel something real, something that wasn't transactional or controlled. They weren't dating, not officially, but there was something there, something neither of them had named yet. One night, Jake taught her how to make playlists on Spotify. Another night, they sat on the hood of his car in an empty Target parking lot, and he showed her the logo designs he was proudest of. She told him they were beautiful. She meant it. "You should charge more," she said. "These are worth way more than $3. He laughed. "When you're nobody, you take what you can get. You're not nobody." The way she said it made him look at her differently. It was a Tuesday. Ryan had texted Emma that he'd be late, another investor dinner. Emma texted back a thumbs-up emoji. No disappointment, no surprise, just acknowledgement. She texted Jake, "Want to come over? My dad won't be home until late." He hesitated. Then, "Sure, I'll bring takeout." They ate Thai food on the living room floor, something Emma had never done. Her father believed in dining tables and posture and proper settings. This felt like breaking a rule, and it felt wonderful. After, Jake showed her a dance his little cousin had taught him at a family party, something goofy and half-remembered. Emma laughed, actually laughed, and asked him to teach her. He pulled up a slow song on her phone. "Okay, but only if we do a real one, too." They slow danced in the living room, not romantically, not quite. Just two people enjoying a moment. Emma felt lighter than she had in months. That's when Ryan walked in. Ryan stood in the doorway, briefcase still in hand, staring. Emma and Jake froze mid-step, the music still playing softly from the phone on the coffee table. For 5 long seconds, nobody spoke. Then Ryan's voice, cold and controlled. "Emma, go to your room. Dad, it's not now." Emma looked at Jake, panicked, apologetic. Then she walked upstairs. The door to her room closed. Silence. Ryan turned to Jake. "Who the hell are you?" Jake straightened, trying to hold his composure. "I'm Jake, Linda's son. I know who you are." Ryan's voice was sharp, clipped. "What are you doing in my house with my daughter? We're friends. We were just hanging out. Friends." Ryan laughed, bitter. "You deliver food for a living. She's taking a gap year from NYU. You think I don't see what this is? It's not like that. We were just talking." "Get out." Jake hesitated. "Mr. Mitchell, I promise you, get out of my house." Jake left. He texted Emma from his car, "I'm sorry, are you okay?" She didn't respond. Ryan called Linda at 11:30 p.m. She answered on the third ring, groggy. "Linda, your son was in my house tonight with my daughter." Silence. Then quietly, "Mr. Mitchell, I didn't know. I don't want him near her. Do you understand? Yes. I'm so sorry. I'll talk to him. And I think it's best if we part ways. I'll pay you through the end of the month, but I'll be finding a new cleaning service." Linda's heart sank. She needed this job. But she said the only thing she could. "I understand." The line went dead. Ryan stood in his empty kitchen, adrenaline fading, replaced by something else. He poured himself a whiskey he didn't want and sat in the dark. Upstairs, Emma cried into her pillow, her phone clutched in her hand, waiting for a text from her dad that never came. No knock on the door. No "let's talk about this." Just silence. Emma stopped talking to Ryan, not in an explosive way, in a quiet, permanent way. She answered in monosyllables. She ate dinner in her room. She stopped asking him about his day. When he tried to explain himself, "I was protecting you. You don't understand how this looks. He's not right for you." She just stared at him with hollow eyes and said, "You don't even know him. You didn't even ask." A week later, she asked to move to Portland with her mother. Ryan said no. She stopped asking for anything after that. 3 months later, she moved out anyway, found a small studio apartment with a roommate closer to the bookstore. She texted Ryan her new address. He didn't visit. Linda found another cleaning job, but it paid less. She worked extra hours to make up the difference. She didn't blame Jake out loud, but the silence between them was heavy. Jake felt like he'd ruined everything. He stopped designing for 2 weeks, just delivered food in silence, replaying the confrontation in his head. He wanted to reach out to Emma, but what could he say? He didn't want to make things worse. He thought about the way Ryan had looked at him, not as a person, as a problem, as someone who didn't belong. 2 months passed. Ryan hired a new cleaning service. Emma had moved out. The house felt emptier than ever. One night, he found himself looking through old photos on his phone. Emma as a kid. Emma at her high school graduation. Emma sitting at the piano, back turned to the camera. He realized he had no recent photos. Nothing from the last 2 years. Just distance captured in pixels. He thought about Jake, a 22-year-old kid trying to make something of himself, working multiple jobs, treating his daughter with kindness, and he treated him like a threat, like he was nothing. Ryan realized, sitting there in the silence of his big empty house, that he'd protected Emma from the wrong thing. He'd protected her from connection, from someone who actually saw her. He'd built her a castle and locked her inside. Ryan tried to find Jake. He called Linda's old number, disconnected. He drove to the address he had on file, but they'd moved. He tried apologizing to Emma. She listened in silence, then said, "You can't fix this by just saying sorry, Dad. You don't even know what you're sorry for." She was right. Sometimes the people we push away are the ones reminding our loved ones they're not alone. We build walls to protect what matters most, but forget that walls keep out not just danger, but also light, laughter, and the simple truth that being seen as a human need money can't buy. Ryan learned that success means nothing if the people you love feel like strangers in your presence. And by the time he understood, the silence had already spoken louder than any words he could find.